The Commentary Booth is a show for media lovers by media lovers just like you. If you want to support the show, go to jamiapsmedia.com. Welcome to the Commentary Booth, the ultimate weekly entertainment recap and review show. My name is Jamie Apps, and each week I'll be joined by a rotating cast of co-hosts to run you through the entertainment media we've consumed during the week. Along the way, we'll provide you with insightful commentary and reviews. This week I'm joined by a freelance social commentator who lists their favourite movie as American Psycho and favourite TV show as Peaky Blinders. Welcome back to the show, Blake Robinson.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you doing with this rain and everything going on at the moment?
Look, it's putting a slow start to things, that's for sure. But it's good. I'm liking it. This is my kind of weather.
It's definitely encouraging people to stay home, which is nice.
Yeah, it's one excuse for them, eh? Flooded roads, so they haven't really got an excuse.
What have you been up to before the rain?
Before the rain? Well, seems like it's just been raining for a lifetime. I've been getting out a little bit though, a little bit of socialising with the friends, which is good.
Back on the drinking like Jackson now?
I am. I'm back on the scene. Dry July's over, and I'm come back in a big way. I'm keen to just go back into my shell though.
I was going to say, did you do what Jackson did and went super hard the first night you could?
Yeah, definitely did. Regrets.
Oh, well.
It's all fun and games. What's been happening with yourself? Back in the dart scene?
Yeah, back at darts, fully masked up, which is a strange feeling, but...
I think I was watching some darts on... Darts has been on, I think I was watching something online, some video of the pros. And darts is like that sport where the crowd's everything, eh? Like everything.
Yeah, it's pretty dull without it, but like
yeah, so that was pretty weird. Like they'd hate that.
Yeah, it definitely affected some of the players more than others. Like
for sure, they'd feed off that big time. Like I know a lot of sports athletes have said, other athletes are like, yeah, well the crowd is a big part of our game, but then others are like, I'm actually playing heaps better without a crowd. So I know it's advantages some people.
Yeah, I think a lot of the top blokes fed off the crowd a lot more than some of the guys that were that next tier down. They've been able to capitalise on just being able to focus and not worry about the crowd putting that pressure on them.
Yeah, darts is a rowdy live sport.
Very. They came back and had their pro tour, which is like the one that isn't in front of a crowd anyway. So they had that first. And for that, they all had to show up at the venue, and like they had a hotel. Like 2 days before the event, everybody had to be like tested for the virus. And while they were at the event, they were not to leave their room after they'd been tested. So they got tested, went straight to their room, and they sat there, and the only time that they left was to go to the venue to play, and then they went back to the hotel, and they were there for about a week.
Darts bubble.
Yeah.
Well, they wouldn't have big venues anyway, especially with no crowds now. Like they could just play at a hotel and play downstairs at in an auditorium or something.
Yeah, I think for the pro tour, which gets a lot of players, they had I think it was like Fulham, like the stadium.
Yeah. Like
the venue next to the actual Fulham football stadium.
Yep.
So they played in there, and then for the world match play, they were at... can't remember where they were, but it wasn't the usual venue, but it's still a pretty big venue, and they had it all set up with big LCD screens with videos from fans and stuff constantly playing.
That's what NBA is doing. It works well too.
Yeah, it creates a nice atmosphere. It's not what you would typically get, but it's good enough for now.
Because we just had like the cardboard cutouts over here for the footy and that, but yeah, NBA they've actually got it's actually a live stream of like crowd. It's good.
Yeah, it's like people like Zoom call in and just watch the game.
Yeah, I reckon it'd be really good for the players.
It's trippy too. Like when I first watched it, it looked like NBA 2K. I was like, wait, is this an actual live game or what?
It would be like them for playing like just 2K in real life. Eh? It'd feel like they're in a video game.
Yeah. What have you been watching outside of the NBA and everything else?
Let me think. I ended up, that was it Home Game? I ended up watching that first episode last night. It was wild, man.
Yeah, that's one I watched.
The Gladiator games. I never even knew that existed. I don't know what it was called.
The what's it called? Calcio Storico. Pretty wild sport.
Right. Yeah, they don't even get paid for it. It's just like a pride thing. So there's like four teams all in.
No pay, and the winner just gets a cow that they don't even get to eat.
Yeah, you just get to parade the cow. Yeah, but what was it? You have to be born in Florence. It's only a Florence thing.
Yeah, so you had to be born in Florence, and then you only got to play for the team that covers like your district or suburb or whatever it is.
Yeah, one of the team, the main team, they focused on that red team though. That was a pretty tough unit, eh? I think a couple of other teams looked a bit weaker, but they're badasses. Yeah, so they just got to beat each other up to make way for the ball runner.
Yeah, it's like this weird combo of like the ultra-violent combo of MMA, soccer, rugby.
Definitely some good on.
European handball, like just hectic.
Yeah, it was madness. Definitely something I wouldn't mind having a bet on if I could. I could get into that for sure.
Something I'd love to go and see live. Like, it sounds mental.
Yeah, well, see, they shut down like all the main streets in Florence and whatever, and did like a big parade through the city on like the final day. It's a huge thing. I didn't even know it existed. They've been doing it since the same rules and the same gameplay. They've been doing it since like 1570.
Yeah, they were saying it spans back 500 years.
They haven't changed. Well, before that, it was like 2,000 years, whatever they've been doing it, but it changed it a bit. But yeah, the current gameplay, same rules since 1570. Pretty gnarly. Yeah, it's basically just modern day Gladiator. There's nothing modern about it. It's just set that's in the modern day.
Yeah, it's literally just let's all get on this rectangle field and do whatever you want, but to score, you just got to put this ball in the net.
Yeah, was it that guy who said it when he just got beaten up? He got hit him in the ribs, and he just told his opponent that he's like injured, and they just stopped like hitting each other.
He just sat on him and just held him there instead.
I don't know. Did you catch any of them other ones? I had a quick flick through. I just had a quick look to see what there was. That freediving one would be pretty cool. Did you watch that one?
Yeah, so I watched the whole season. Like,
you watched them all?
All 8 episodes.
Yeah. Only about half an hour, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty easy to get through, and it's just like all these weird, either traditional or unusual sports from around the world, and it's got Calcio Storico's episode 1, then it has the Highland Games.
Oh, yeah, that was the next one.
Free diving, roller derby in Texas, another sport called cockbaroo, which is it's like a mixture between polocrosse. Well, it's basically polocrosse, but the ball is a goat carcass.
Oh, really? I missed that one. That sounds sick.
From, where is it? Mongolia or something?
Yeah, probably.
It's just like this super ancient sport. And then there's catch fetiche, which is basically pro wrestling mixed with voodoo from the Congo. Then there's Makapung Lampit, which is basically drag racing with like ox and the trowels that they use for rice farming in Indonesia.
It wasn't really a jousting one there, eh? Surely jousting gets a run. They've got to be doing that.
So.
Well, they do it. I've seen it on my SBS. But it's just like exhibition.
Yeah, and then the last episode is Palwani, which is basically just Indian wrestling in the dirt.
Yep.
Like proper, like Greco-Roman style wrestling.
Sure, there's heaps of others out there too, you're just not thinking of. all these
Oh, it's
traditionals.
definitely a series that they could continue and just be like,
Oh, there'd have to be a season 2. There'd be more out there for sure for them to cover.
episode 1's definitely, I think, the highlight of the whole series. But then I'd recommend the freediving one was interesting, but it wasn't like mind blowing. Like it's sort of a sport that I'd heard of a bit before. But I'd recommend Cockbaroo and Makapung Lampit because that just looks mental.
Yeah, is that the goat carcass polo cross one?
So yeah, the goat one and then the Indonesian drag racing.
Yeah, I'll probably get into some more. I watched that one pretty late last night though.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting series.
Gonna have to find time between Selling Sunset season 3 is out now, so I need to get into that. I can't believe I haven't watched it yet. I love
What's
that show.
that one about?
Oh man, it's just a guilty pleasure of mine. It's just basically a trash reality show about this real estate agency in it's like in Beverly Hills. And all they do is it's like these 8 girls in the agency and these like 2 male owners, and it's just so much bitching and backstabbing in the office. They just follow them around all day and they sell all these like multi-million-dollar houses and whatnot. Like it's interesting, like all the cool houses and that, but yeah, it's just full of drama. It's amazing.
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a Blake show.
Yeah.
That sounds like my mum's show too.
They just brought out your season 3 and I'm stinging for it. It's been out a few days, can't believe I haven't watched it yet.
Just on like Netflix or something?
Yeah, it is. It's a Netflix. It's just one of those ones I stumbled across like probably 18 months ago. I was like, what is this? And I started watching it and I was hooked instantly.
Yeah, nice.
Next minute, there's 3 seasons of it. So, laughing. But yeah,
Lost your life for a few days.
Yeah, I might cover that in full once.
What else have you been checking out?
What else? I watched Chappaquiddick. Do you know much about that? What it's about?
Is that the Ted Kennedy?
Yeah, it is.
movie?
It's about So Ted Kennedy was the youngest Kennedy brother, and so the Kennedys had this holiday house on Chappaquiddick Island, like it was like near Boston. Anyway, long story short, Ted was driving home from a party one night, and he was obviously drinking, and he went off a bridge into the water, and he managed to get out of the car, but there was a girl in the car. It was one of the secretaries for his brother's campaign, and he got out uninjured, and I don't know, he just mind freeze, and he like fled the scene and just left her in the car like drowning. And he didn't report it to the police or anything, and it was like, yeah, pretty big scandal. So this is a movie about that. Yeah, she ended up dying, but he ended up getting away with it, obviously. Bit of pull there. But yeah, very interesting movie. It's a few years old now. But yeah, I just finished reading a book about the Kennedys. I'm heaps interested in them, hey. So, but yeah, I didn't realise this movie existed. Here's a guy that stars as Ted. He plays a really good role. He's in Great Gatsby as well.
I'm not sure. I've definitely heard of this movie when it was like first coming out.
Oh yeah, Jason Clarke. That's his name. What else is he in? Oh, he's in Pet Sematary as well. That's right. That's what I know.
Oh yeah, that I recognise that face now.
Yeah, he's just really he's uneasy looking guy, eh?
He's definitely someone you notice.
He just always makes me feel on edge when I look at him. But yeah, he's Pet Sematary. He's in Great Gatsby as well. That's where I remembered him from.
Yeah, I definitely heard of this movie when it was coming out. But,
yeah, 2017. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that. I really enjoyed it too. I'm probably not one of those movies if you didn't really know what was going on, you might not enjoy it as much. But yeah, I was heaps into it. It's pretty good.
You've got to love the benefits of being a Kennedy at that time.
Oh yeah, you'd barely say it was a benefit. Yeah.
Well, he got away with it, I guess. So.
Yeah, exactly. But he was the last one left at the time, the last male Kennedy. Then his dad ended up dying a few months later. After that.
Yeah, pretty cursed family eventually. But
yeah, big time. Yeah, that book I read was actually called The Kennedy Curse.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect coincidence.
What on your end, anything?
Well, yeah, like obviously you watched a movie. It's been definitely a movie weekend with the crappy weather. Just spending all.
Did you end up seeing Unhinged?
No, I haven't yet, but I keep hearing reviews that make me want to go and actually see it rather than waiting for it.
Really? I thought it'd be one of them movies. It would get heaps bad reviews, eh? I know, I just got them. Like, it looks like I'd enjoy it.
Everyone I've heard has said it's just super intense, and so it's kind of making me want to go and see it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, when I seen the trailer, when I went to the movies, I was like, yeah, this is gnarly. But it's sort of got those vibes like, I don't know, like, I'd probably find it entertaining, but if someone reviewing it would probably pick it apart.
Yeah, I'll probably look and try and get a random midweek screening and hopefully get the whole cinema to myself. Middle of the day, one day when I'm not too busy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too, man. Yeah, for sure. That's what I want to do. Yeah, I'll definitely want to go watch it. Yeah, looks not bad. So you haven't heard any bad reviews for it?
I've heard a couple where people are like, it's a bit like unrealistic and over the top, but I think that's kind of the point of it.
Oh, really? It definitely looks over the top.
I think that's the point, to just sort of be like, yeah, this is when road rage goes to an incredible extreme.
I know. I didn't even really know he was making it. Russell Crowe.
Yeah, neither. I guess it's all filmed pretty much in two cars, so it's pretty easy to sort of do a sneaky production.
Well, yeah, there's two reviews here. The first line of this review says, "What a masterpiece," and it's got 5 stars, and the one under it says 1 star. So bad, corny as hell. Take what you want.
It definitely seems like that sort of movie. But I think me and you are sort of into that style, so it would probably be something we'd be closer to the 5 star rather than the 1 star.
Yeah, for sure. And the one above it, thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Here you go. Yeah, I wanted to try go. I wanted to go watch it. I actually think I tried looking for it online. It's not streamed anywhere, eh? It's just straight to cinema, this one. Because I know a couple of the new releases did go to streaming and cinema, eh? I've noticed.
Yeah, a few, like...
I think a couple were... like, is Greyhound at the movies as well, even though it's streaming? Did they end up doing that?
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just Apple Plus.
Yeah, I'm still hanging for 10 a day.
Oh,
I thought it was
100%.
coming out like last week or this week, but it's still a couple of weeks away, isn't it? I think the 22nd.
Yeah, they bumped it again because of US cinemas still being shut.
Oh, is that what happened?
So it was going to come out, and then they were like, nah, cinemas in the US, which is where it's going to make all its money, got bumped again.
Originally, it was meant to come out like the start of August, I think, when I first seen the trailer. That's why I was thinking it was coming out. But not bump it again.
Yeah, I think because of the director, he's got control and can be like, nah, we're holding it. And it's the sort of movie where I think it needs to come out everywhere at the same time. Like,
it's going to be huge, bro.
Otherwise, people are going to hear opinions and reviews and just trash it.
Yeah, true. I'm sure they've got to be getting half back to normal in America now. Been seeing like the parties and raves and whatnot going on over there. So I think there's so many different states and different like government restrictions in each state. Like one state would be completely locked down, and others would just do what you want.
Yeah, I think cinemas are still pretty much like shut down. I don't think they've really opened anywhere at the moment.
Are they back in studios and whatnot making movies?
I think some have started doing like smaller productions and things where they can do it with.
But sure, we're going to hit like a low point where there's just not going to be new releases coming out, or unless they've got heaps of stuff they're holding back. Like what else got to come out? James Bond. I know that's keeps getting pushed back. Did they get pushed back to November?
I don't know if they put a date on it. I know they just did say it was getting delayed, but I'm not sure if they put a date on it. And then, like Mulan, they just announced is going to. It's got the weirdest release strategy. It's going to Disney Plus, but it's not part of your subscription. You have to pay an extra $30 on top of the subscription to get access.
That's out of control.
Yeah, but if you pay that $30, you have access to it forever as long as you keep your subscription. But it's like,
so you're buying.
So I have to pay $6 or $7 a month to access Disney Plus, but then I've still got to pay $30 to get a movie that's on Disney Plus.
Crazy, eh? You can say they need money, then I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, over the weekend when it was just bucketing down rain, I just been watching movies in bed.
Yeah, what else did you cover?
I checked out Dr. Sleep finally since it popped up on Netflix.
I seen it was on Netflix last night. That's mad. Yeah, I'll probably watch it again. I've seen it when it first came out. I'm a massive Shining fan, so I was hanging for that movie to come out. What'd you think of it? I was like, the only thing I didn't like was it wasn't Stanley Kubrick. Like, it would have been good if it was obviously Stanley made it. That was a little bit distracting. But they remade it very well. Like the Overlook Hotel, those scenes are almost spot on. They did heaps well there.
Yeah. So I thought it was a good movie, but I felt like it was probably too long. 2.5 hours.
It did drag on, eh? It was very, very sci-fi, eh? Very sci-fi. But I would have been complaining if they left crucial bits out.
It's definitely different to The Shining, where like The Shining is like a proper psychological horror film, whereas this one is more supernatural thriller type thing.
It's good though. It's good. I followed the story on pretty well. Not that I really. Well, when did because this is Stephen King again, eh? He did write this, I think.
Yeah, it's based on the book Dr. Sleep, and it's like the proper canonical sequel to The Shining.
Yeah. So
it definitely has the proper ties to it.
I'm pretty sure the book came out years ago.
Yeah, what I was reading is they were trying to make this for a while, and they were struggling to get the budget, and it wasn't until they saw the success of Stephen King's other movie, It, the remake.
Yeah.
When it was super successful, they kind of went, okay, let's pull the trigger on this. We'll use the money that came from that to fund this, and then the money from this has then gone on and helped fund It Part 2 and whatnot.
I wouldn't mind reading Dr. Sleep, hey? I reckon it'd be probably a good one to read.
It'd definitely be an interesting one to see how faithful the movie is to the book.
Yeah. Just have a look now. Yeah, it might be worth getting. I definitely want to watch it again though, because I've seen it since it came out. Was that your first time watching it? On the weekend?
Yep.
Hectic.
Like, yeah, I wanted to. When I saw the trailers, I was like, "Oh yeah, I need to see that." And I just.
Ewan McGregor's great. I love him. He's so underrated as an actor, I reckon.
Yeah, he plays Danny Terrence in this one. He's basically the young boy from The Shining who's now grown up and is using his abilities to help guide people into the afterlife. And then
he is The Shining, as he got told.
Yep, and then he gets swept up into protecting this young girl, Abra Stone, who's being tormented by a group known as the True Knot, who are trying to prey on people with psychic abilities to extend their own lives.
Is that what they're doing? So they fed off them so they could like keep living.
Yeah, so it's basically everyone in that True Knot has some sort of ability.
Yeah.
Like psychic ability, and then they use their abilities to capture these other people, and then they're killing them and like sucking their power to then live longer.
Yeah.
And they talk about it in the movie, like if the person is like has lots of terror or fear and sadness in their life, it gives them what they feed off more power and more longevity.
Yep.
So that's why they torture that little boy while murdering him.
You wouldn't it probably, if you haven't seen The Shining, it probably wouldn't help to watch this first. I'd probably recommend you might have a better understanding of The Shining, because it probably takes a few watches of The Shining to sort of understand that. I've seen it like dozens of times, but yeah, I'd probably recommend watching Doctor Sleep first, then The Shining.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting take. It'd be nice to see someone do that and see if it does work.
I've done that with other movies.
I did like that it left the potential ending open to sort of continue on with Abra.
Well, The Shining, that's how that sort of ended. Like, there was always like sequel potential for The Shining. I thought at the end of that. Well, I forgot how Doctor Sleep ended. So, what are you saying? There was sequel potential there again. Well, they're not going to really make a movie of it because they haven't got a book.
Yeah, exactly. On. Like, there's no canonical book to follow on, but I did read somewhere that they have been like working on a script for a sequel where...
Well, Stephen King's still alive. I just had a look.
Yeah, so they can
there you
work
go.
with
I
him.
didn't know that.
His writing, like the way he works is crazy.
I know he does.
He's not a writer that... I've seen in interviews where he says like, he's not a writer that has to sit and wait for inspiration. He's someone that...
keeps pouring out. Yeah.
He is constantly writing. He just writes something all the time and then just goes back and picks the things that actually are good.
It's crazy how many movies have been made of his books and you don't really realise they're original novels by him. He's a freaky dude.
Definitely someone that's going to go down in history as one of the most prolific writers of all time.
I think that's what I'll do, because I'm still reading like an absolute madman. I might have to get Doctor Sleep and give it a read.
You'll have to come back to us and tell us how faithful the movie is.
It's pretty hefty though. It's like 510 pages book.
He's not one to pump out something short.
He's even... I'm just looking now. Stand By Me, that old River Phoenix movie, the one with them little kids. He wrote that as well, Stephen King.
Okay, yep, didn't know that.
Far out. What a man. He's got heaps of stuff here. Shawshank Redemption, I didn't know that. Hectic. I watched Shawshank the other day. I love that movie. What else he got here? Yeah, heaps of stuff. Heaps. Did you end up watching Pet Sematary as well?
I haven't yet. I have it. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it was a bit different to what I was expecting on the trailer. Trailer always heaps promising, but the movie was a little bit how you going. It went off track a bit as well. Because that was a very popular book of his. It was one of his more popular stories. I think everyone's just cashing in on the making Stephen King. Oh, 1922, that was him. You've seen that on Netflix?
No, don't think so.
Yeah, Netflix original. That was really good, eh? It's scary as. Like, I wasn't expecting it. I just found it on Netflix. I was like, hey, what's this? Started watching it and I was like, oh my god, what have I got myself into here? Yeah, 1922, watch that. I do recommend that.
Okay, I'll have to check that one out for next time. Yeah, so summing up, like Dr. Sleep, I thought it was good. Could have been tighter, and I don't think it's going to traumatise or sort of...
it wasn't that scary, eh?
No, and it's not going to enter the pop lexicon like The Shining did. Like, it's not going to be something that people riff off forever.
Yeah, I don't know if I could recommend watching it to someone who's not familiar with The Shining, though. I don't know if you'd find it too entertaining or you'd get very lost. You'd end up, by the time you're like thinking about what's going on, you'd miss what's happening in front of you and you just lost track of it. So probably, yeah. And I wasn't disappointed either. As a fan of The Shining, like, it was good. Nothing to complain about, really.
The other movie I checked out this weekend was I See You, starring Helen Hunt.
Yeah, right. I'm not familiar.
So it's a 2019 horror thriller thing. And yeah, obviously has Helen Hunt in it, who looks very different to her Twister and Castaway days. I think there's been quite a bit of work done there.
Oh, yeah, I'm just looking up now. Hey, this looks. What is this little monster thing? Is that just the guy with the mask? That looks terrifying.
It's definitely a strange movie though. Like it's kind of a movie in two halves, where like the first half makes you believe it's this supernatural entity that's just terrorizing Helen Hunt's family, but and then that's sort of tied in with these kids that go missing in the town and all of that. But in the second half, it then introduces you to these other people, and you realize that there's something kind of more nefarious and grounded, like real life basis for what's happening with her family and what's going on in their house. And yeah, so the film introduces you to this thing known as frogging with a PH.
Is that mask thing I'm looking at?
Which is, yeah. So frogging is when people sneak into someone's house and try to live in the house alongside them, but without the people that own the house knowing that they're living in the house.
What? Is that an actual thing?
Apparently.
Frogging?
Crazy.
So it's like squatting, but
you
want to be a part of the family.
Yeah, so it's kind of like you're basically living off them like a parasite. Like you don't have to buy any food or anything. Mad. You live in their house. They don't know you're living in their house, and you just eat their food and whatever.
I'm gonna try watch this tonight. It looks good. So you say it's on Netflix?
Yeah, definitely a good one to watch.
Not too cheesy.
No, I think because of the way it's like it cuts in half and starts twisting how it all happens, it makes it so it doesn't become too cheesy.
I do. I'm always a bit hesitant watching random like horrors because they can be very bad and disappointing. It's definitely a gamble chucking on something you don't really know as far as horrors go.
Like with this rainy weather, it felt like it fit nicely with the theme of the weather around me.
Did you ever watch The Babadook?
No.
Yeah, it was actually, I found it was on this article, it was like the top 20 scariest movies of the last 10 years, and it was number one. It's an Australian movie. This character on this movie, this reminds me of that. The Babadook. It was good. Wouldn't say it was overly scary.
It wasn't as scary as the list made out.
No, not at all. But it was definitely sleep with the bedroom door shut vibes for the next few weeks. But it wasn't nothing over the top.
Have you seen Parasite?
Oh no, I still haven't seen it. I've gone to watch it a few times, and I just can't get in the mood for subtitles. I'm not a subtitles dude. I know every single person said how amazing it is, though. I do need to watch it. Yeah,
it's definitely one that you need to be in the right headspace though. If you're not up for reading subtitles, it's going to be.
Yeah, it's not really background noise for Instagram scrolling, maybe.
You definitely need to pay attention to this one. But I see you kind of felt like the English language, not as good, but the English language version of Parasite.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it has all those sort of living in someone's house without them knowing, and
wonder why no one's tried to do a dub version of Parasite.
I think because it was so successful, like because it won.
Yeah, like I don't want to touch this.
People are just like, not going to do that because it's always going to get compared.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't mind the vocal dubs.
Yeah, like that platform, that was fun.
Yeah, I didn't mind at all. But I did, when I was reading reviews, everyone's like, oh, well, you got to watch the Spanish version. It's like just hits different, it's heaps intense. Yeah, I was happy with dub, but yeah, I watched. Did you ever see Marianne? It's a series on Netflix. I think it's might even be French. It was terrifying. Hey, like I highly recommend watching it. It might have been like 8 episodes. Yeah, that was dubbed, but at first I didn't know it was dubbed, and I was like, this looks heaps weird, and I realised, but I couldn't watch that with subtitles. There's way too much going on. I really had to pay attention on the screen, but yeah, the dubs were fine. That was terrifying though.
I think I've got it on my list.
Yeah, it was really good.
Horror is hard to watch in subtitles because you kind of need to be focusing on
what's going on. There's heaps happening.
What's happening in the background and...
Yeah, generally with the horror, you probably don't need to know what's going on a lot of the time either. But like as far as reading what they're saying,
because like I watched that series Dark,
mm-hmm.
and initially I didn't realize that it had subtitles, and then I started watching it and it was dubbed, and I was like, "What the heck is going on here?" Like, it was,
yeah. You're like, "Oh, these voices aren't matching up."
You're like, "Why is this all like slightly off?" And then Jackson recommended I watch it with subtitles, and it was fine because you didn't need to be paying attention to every element in every scene, whereas horror, you kind of do need to be looking in the background and looking for those visual clues.
It's weird how some things have that effect. Hey, like it just hits so much different with like the language that it was made in. Suppose you get like the sound aspect and like the tone in their voices and whatnot, and you just brings you more into it. Yeah, I've completely forgot. I watched Don't F with Cats on Netflix. Everyone was I out of nowhere I just remembered that someone recommended it to me. I completely forgot about it, and I'm so glad I watched it. It was like a 3-part mini series. It was incredible. Hey, have you seen it?
Yeah, wild doco. Yeah, I saw it when it first came out.
Yeah, I'm so glad I watched it. I had no idea what it was about either. Contrary to what the title said, didn't really click. But yeah, so I learned a lot as it started going on. I was like, oh my goodness, this is out of control. I watched like all 3 at once. I could not watch it. That was insane.
Yeah, so that first episode is super intense and super heavy.
I thought the worst one was when they had the python on the bed. That was like, holy hell, what is going on? And they let the snake attack the cat.
When they first started showing those clips, I was like, oh, please cut these. Like, I don't need to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And thankfully they cut it like right as it's about to happen. You're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly they made the other people watch them again. I didn't even bother Googling to try and find them. I was like, I don't need to see it. I've seen enough. Yeah, what do you reckon? Do you reckon that he acted alone there? Or it was just him or other people?
There was definitely I reckon there was definitely people like egging him on, but whether...
I reckon that guy, that Manny guy, he was all made up. There's no way. Like he was claiming that he was like the ringleader, he was making him, forcing him to do all this stuff. He was a psycho, and that kid's mum's was a bit of a looper as well.
I think it was more like the notoriety that he was then getting on the dark web and stuff was probably just egging him on to go push boundaries further and further.
I mean, a lot of reviews I read too, like everyone was saying the 2 main people that ran that Facebook group to try to find him probably stepped out of line a bit as well. Like it wasn't any of their business. But what do you reckon? Do you reckon they got a duty of care to try to do something about that? Yeah,
I guess that's the problem with the internet. Like, yeah, it's not their place to do it, but it's also like, how can I see that and not want to do something?
Like, and they even warned the police that someone's about to get killed, and they sort of... Like, the police don't really have, like, yeah, whatever, you just something you read or seen on the internet, so we can't really do much about it, but they're probably right. They probably can't, isn't much they can do about it, because it probably is made up most of the time, but it happened. That's probably, like, the severe end of the spectrum for that. Like, someone actually dying or getting murdered after someone said they were going to do it.
Yeah, it's a problem with the internet. Like, you can't trust everything you see. We can look at that with COVID conspiracies at the moment, but if something like that is happening, you've got to sort of at least investigate.
I love the similarities to Basic Instinct. He was obsessed with that movie. Like, went right down to the end when he was getting interviewed by the police. I was like, wow, this is freaky. It's like he planned out his capture like 2 years in advance of him doing it all. It was a genius. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, just a shame he put his talents into the wrong things.
Yeah, it was, very interesting. I ended up going back and watching Basic Instinct after that. What a good movie that is. It's a classic. It's got to be under... I reckon it's well known for the wrong reasons. It's actually a really good movie, I reckon.
You make some strange connections that trip me out every week.
Well, they actually brushed over American Psycho in Don't F with Cats. And I was like, don't you dare bring that movie into this and use his name in vain. But luckily they only brushed over it.
The other thing I've been watching recently is after you and Jackson have both talked it up ridiculously, I finally dove into Peaky Blinders.
Peakies. Have you never watched it?
No. So I started it last week. I watched the first season, and then this week I watched season 2.
First 2 are good.
I love that there are only 6 episodes. Like, it's super easy to just get through a season in a week. You can just watch one a night, and it's easy as.
Yeah, if you're catching up. But when I've been hanging for season 4 and 5 to come out, and when they were waiting like a year and only 6 episodes, you're like, damn it, I've got to wait another year for another one.
Yeah, true. I think if I was doing it season by season as they were coming out, I'd be like, come on, I need more than 6.
They never took the foot off the pedal either. Like, it's stayed solid and true the whole way through. Like, they haven't just been pushing out episodes for the sake of it. It's just the storyline's amazing, and like it's just the quality of it. Oh, I'm such a big fan. It's very good. What do you think? Thoughts?
So season 1 took maybe 2.5 episodes before it like fully had me invested, just because it's a bit slow. But I'm definitely into it now. Like, I pumped out season 2 pretty quickly.
It gets pretty badass. Like once the Shelbys start really taking over, when they start taking over some of the big bookmakers, and they start really asserting dominance, and it's just all guns blazing. Tommy Shelby runs the world.
I just love that, that like the 6 episodes, like usually you get Netflix shows that have that, I think they're like 8 or 10, and there's always 2 or 3 in there that you're like, do we really need this episode? Whereas this is like 6 episodes, every episode is important. Something big happens in everyone. Sam Neill is incredible in every episode and scene that he's in.
Doesn't it make you hate him, his character?
Oh, his character's an absolute jerk, but...
Grub. That, honestly, I'm still from that. Yeah, I hate Sam Neill because of his character in that.
Tom Hardy is a psychopath again.
Oh, bro. Tom Hardy's incredible.
When he popped up, I was like, oh my god, he's a nut.
Alfie Solomons, How good is he? It's funny as.
Yeah.
Yeah, yet again, he just transforms himself for roles. Yeah, Tom Hardy's good. Who else is in it? There's a few pretty big cameos. Or Adrian Brody. You're probably not up to it. Or he might be season 4. Adrian Brody's in it. He's incredible. He plays like an Italian gangster. Yeah, I think Adrian might be season 4. So I think it's up to season 5. Finished that. I think we're waiting on season 6. But the way is it season 4 or 5? I don't know. I can't remember. But the latest one, how that finishes, is just huge cliffhanger. I was like, oh my god.
Worst timing too, with now everything kind of getting delayed. Kind of making me want to buy a 3-piece suit and big overcoat and peaky hat too.
Yeah, mate. Sure, everyone else has. The ultimate, a bit of Halloween vibes. Tommy Shelby. Yeah, the hair's amazing.
Yeah, so that's one that's just been, after watching other stuff, I'm like, okay, I can just chuck on an episode of this before I go to sleep, and then...
Yeah, everyone's the same. Like, everyone, like, once they watch it, they're like, wow, this is just incredible. So it did get voted the most popular TV show of all time. Like, it beat out Game of Thrones and Sons of Anarchy and Breaking Bad and whatnot.
Wow, to beat out Breaking Bad's a big one. Like, I understand it beating Game of Thrones because it's not everyone's cup of tea, and those last few seasons fell off the track massively.
Oh yeah, I like how they brought into the aspect of Tommy's like wartime flashbacks. They keep bringing that up, and how he has from the trenches, like all these flashbacks, and he needs to take like opium before he sleeps, like to deal with the PTSD. That was pretty good. I like how they kept putting that in. Just little details like that really made it. Same as Arthur, he gets really bad PTSD, doesn't he? Well, he's just a full-blown psycho. Anyway.
Yeah, and then ends up with the coke addiction.
Yeah, he has. It starts getting a bit looser. as the seasons go on, or they're partying.
Oh, season 2, he's already a maniac on it.
Partying just gets out of hand. So they sort of start as this humble little country town gang, and they end up just running.
So, what would be your top recommendation for the week?
Oh yeah, you know what? This is tough. I'm going to say that 1922 movie I just brushed on.
Okay, yeah, I'll definitely have to go check that out now then.
Yeah, do that. Now that we spoke about a few horrors, so yeah, do that. It was it was interesting. It's very scary. I know I got flashbacks for a few weeks every time I looked at certain things. It reminded me. Yeah, it's pretty scary. It was a Netflix original too, I think.
For me, I'm going to say I See You, just because.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that tonight.
I loved the twist in the middle, and then it's just easy. Like, it's an hour and a half in this.
Yep. Not too short.
No, it's just a nice length. And in this crummy, gloomy weather, it fits nicely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, some movies when they're that short, you're like, oh my god, what have they left out? But no, good. Yeah, I'll watch that tonight.
Okay, so thank you everyone for listening to the commentary booth. We hit 500 downloads this week. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. You can follow me on social media at JamieAppsMedia. You can follow Blake over on Twitter at Captain Crumbs with a Z.
Thank you.
The Commentary Booth is a fan-funded production of Jamie Apps Media. You can support the podcast alongside our magazine Jam Zine over on Patreon at patreon.com/Jamie Apps Media. The following people supported at the Jam publisher level or higher, and you cannot fathom how incredibly appreciative we are for their support. Brian and June Hart, Courtney Paulson, Tracy Apps.